Nice. That's actually very, very cool.
I'll turn that mic drive off.
Oh, yeah. I was turning that fucking sound system off.
What's up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming. I'm George. Got James with me. We're hanging for another episode 27 of the Thursday night talk show, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's what time it is, and this is what we do. Yeah, we usually talk about things that are tabletop miniature related. Maybe Games Workshop products, maybe a little 40k thrown in there. Maybe that's all we talk about for the most part. And a little bit of other stuff, you know. What do you know? 3D printers. We talked a lot about 3D printers lately.
Yep.
Yeah. Painting. You know, we got a pretty wide variety of hobby to discuss. Wonder if our
Sweet.
Wonder if we get
My
some...
printer just finished.
Oh, what did it finish?
It finished some drywall anchors and spacers, so I can hang a pegboard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, printing things in the cheap.
We got Chicken Bone jumping in. What's up, man? Good to have you. Doing good so far, man. Just cranking out the old live talk show. Not really sure what we're even going to talk about. Just kind of jumping in, doing the regular, staying consistent.
Works? Is that what people want to talk about?
I mean,
that's what everyone else is talking about.
Works are a thing, yeah. I got a little.
Are you even following the works?
I haven't digested very much. You know, my typical is to wait until the end. I don't like the teasers. It bugs me. I just want to read it all, digest it all at once. I don't like to not know what else is there because I can't give an accurate, fair judgment on what I'm reading without looking at the entire context. Because you know what, James? No matter how cool something looks on paper, it's about how many points does it cost. You know, because
that's a true story.
If something's good or bad, it's all about how affordable does it to take in the first place. You know. So that you know, that's just my nature. But there is some I did get a little excited. I got a picture of Gazgul Thraka. There was a leak that maybe perhaps this might be the new plastic model.
Yeah, I think it's been debunked with a GW community post. Where they posted a picture of his old model with like the new stuff.
So conversion.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is, or a third party.
Not the new Gazgul. To the left there, you can see our buddy locally here, James Sheets, painted that buddy up. For probably our buddy from Innovative Wargaming. I do have this. I thought this was funny. The Xenos, the Index Xenos versus Codex Orcs Stompa weapons. They like cranked it all up pretty significantly, and I think that's a good sign.
Definitely, the fact that it went to 3d6 for the def cannon.
Yeah,
that's where it's at. That can nuke something.
Yeah, and then they D3 shots to D6 shots on the super rocket. I mean, they made everything better. So exciting, because the Stompa was definitely a place of judgment where I was like, this is ridiculous. These points don't make sense. And I think that's an interesting direction to go. We were just talking about points being part of like what makes it valuable. I thought in my mind they would, up its, maybe make it cheaper, right? Maybe they're still going to do that, but they can also just make it more valuable to make it make sense, by increasing its weapon strength, giving it more, making it tougher, things of that nature. That can make it worth the almost 1,000 points it is or whatever.
I think it's almost 1,000 points.
Yeah, I think it's literally like 1,000 points.
Oh, no way.
I don't have my iPad with me, but it is too many points. I know that.
Yeah, that still sounds like too many points. Even what's that weapon on it?
Oh, I agree. It needs a lot more than that, but that at least is a direction to go if you're going to try to make it more worthwhile, make it stronger, because it needs something to make it worth those points. See if I can pull up old Battle Scribe here. Too damn much. Orcs. Let's go super heavy. And then I think it's once you add all the weapons and stuff, it gets particularly expensive.
Well, add those super cool weapons.
That's pretty much like the default stuff it takes too. Let's see. It starts out it starts out at 973 points.
Oh no, that's too much.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's too much.
Isn't
That's still
that
too much.
ridiculous? And let's hit his old profile here. I'm pretty sure the asshole has, he has a 3+ armor save. But the Gargantuan Squiggoth, he only gets a 4+ armor save. No big deal. Yeah, they need to make it cooler, and I'm seeing that everybody, there's some hype things. I'm excited for vehicles to be cool. I should have got it ready, dude. Maybe I'll do it while we hang. I have 16 buggies, and I want to put them on the appropriate base size and run them as the new buggies that are coming out.
Well, I'm hearing that these old buggies are still going to be pretty dope because of the teleport thing.
Oh, yeah?
And being able to put 20 boys in there and your power level still being under 20.
Yeah.
And being able to teleport that. Like, I heard that's going to be pretty strong. Especially when you're already speeding up things that can teleport 9 inches from the opponent. Things that can then jump 9 inches from the opponent.
Yeah.
It's just going to be constant in your face and so many bodies. And so many, like, things that are just higher than normal toughness.
Yeah, man, with all these buggies I got, I definitely definitely need to run them. I'm excited to get to because I love them, and then 16 of them doesn't make sense, so hopefully I can find a way to make them make sense. But yeah, so, excited for the rules. Chicken Bone, I'm excited about the Codex, but I'm way too busy with Chaos at the moment, so I'll be holding off on models. Gotcha. Do you have some orcs yourself, or are you just excited, Chicken Bone, for the way that they might shake up the meta?
They're definitely going to shake up the meta.
Shake it up. I've heard some people like, oh, God, we're going to have to – the game's going to take so much longer with all these newbie orc players moving models around.
See, I just don't believe that because we play with chess clocks.
Yeah. Chess clock's where it's at.
I mean, you
then,
can't
of course,
mess that up.
If vehicles are kind of where it's at anyways, it may not be the traditional orcs that we're used to playing. Yeah, so, I'm excited for them, but again, I've barely digested because I did the same thing with Commander. That did just hit the market, and I got my hands on a copy, and I wouldn't read into any of the leaks because I didn't care until I saw the whole book, and I got the book, and it's fantastic. I'm extremely excited. Just for funsies, for who are out there interested in Commander, I put up a spreadsheet here of my favorite trees that I would go down for each specialism that you would take for each commander, and also the tactics that you would get access to. So I've already kind of gone through, picked my favorite specialisms out. What I think is the most insane is the second one down there called the Strategist specialism. Right? For that, there's a ton of kill teams that can take it. On level 1, you get +1 command point each turn. Level 2, any of your specialists that are within 3 inches of them, they count as a level higher than they actually are. So all your level 1 specialists within 3 inches become level 2. And that gives you access for, like, with heavy weapons to be able to shoot twice, where you didn't have access to that before. Then on level 3, all of your tactics or stratagems cost 1 less. So all of these 2-point tactics that are, feel too expensive to do are now only 1 tactic. It's ridiculous. And then beyond that, there's by being level 3, you can spend 2 command points, which become reduced to 1 command point, to make your opponent add a +1 command point to the cost of any tactic they want to do. So if they want to do a 2-point tactic, you can spend 1 command point, make it a 3-point tactic, where they can't even afford it. So it's basically like Agents of Vex style that you can just straight up put on your commander. So that's ridiculous. And I really look
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's like crazy. I honestly, like, it's hard to see the other ones being like, that's so valuable. The thing that's weird, what I haven't been able to kind of figure out yet is that there's several factions that their commanders cost is more than a kill team currently is. They start out at like 130 points. The tight thing is, like, with the Chaos Heretic Astartes or the Thousand Suns, you can take a cheap commander like down at the 40-50 point cost level, and then by making him a level 4 or level 3 commander and paying for it, you pay for the warlord traits with points. And there's certain ones that are badass, like spend 15 points on your commander and you get D3 command points to start the game with, on top of the fact that you generate an additional one for being the strategist specialist. So you can start the game with like up to 6 command points if you roll hot on the D3. But yeah, some of them. So like to get them where you want to be, to take all these tight specialism abilities, you got to pay to make them a higher level commander. And this is easy to do with certain factions where their commanders are really cheap, and you stack on the points and you equal about 100, 105 points to have a decked out commander. But for other dudes, their commanders start out at 105, 120, 130 points. And if you were to take a full decked out commander, it literally is the entire kill team. It's like there'll be 196 points. One model. So like I don't even really understand. My only intuition is that you really don't upgrade those guys a lot, or like you upgrade them only like one extra level and they just take a few extra partners, or maybe you do play them completely beat stick. I'm not quite sure. Like it's almost like take the minimum and take the usual kind of standard kill team, or take a minimized kill team, or just take that as your one guy. And those are kind of like the 3 ways to like run with those more expensive commanders. And I'm just really not sure how that'll work out. And there's also a lot of people ask the question of, well, do you think that everybody's going to start taking, not take commanders and just take 200 points of regular kill team, right? It's like, it's like, well, screw it. I just won't take a commander and I'll just take 200 points of my other shit. Well, my answer to that is that I think that they have made the game much more killy, and a person without a commander versus a person with, like, you could go ham. I mean, it's just like the death got kicked up a big notch. Which
everyone enjoys good death.
Yeah, the brutality has been cranked up. So where people think you could just take 200 points and be off to the races, you still can only take 20 models anyways. And yeah, the brutality will deal with that. There's just way more psychic now. There's more mortal wound potential. There's way more turn override where you make people fight last and you fight first and shit like that. So it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It's definitely a whole new game. And I feel like just like when we had the index version of 8th edition hit, it was, and we kind of were experiencing 8th edition, and then as the codex just dropped, we were like, oh, okay, so that's what it's like to have a book. We got Gordito Spree tuning in again, man. Good to see you again. What up, guys? Oh, you got a set of our dice, yeah. Yes. Awesome. I sent Gordito some dice, and I think I wrote him a note in there. It's like, many 6s come your way. He says he's been getting them, so that's good.
Sweet.
Only your warp charge dice roll bad, James.
I'm okay with it though.
Yeah.
I'm just that good of a player that people need that handicap.
Yeah, I got you a little handful of the randos. Whenever you meet up with Matt.
Yeah, whenever that actually occurs.
Yeah. All those skulls. Yep. Yeah, so like we're talking a little bit. Oh, what we got there? Oh, that's the pegboard stuff you just printed. That's insane.
Yeah.
So James and I have started a second company together called Tabletop Alchemy, and it's a 3D printing manufacturing company, gaming aids and things of that nature. And James has spearheaded the adventure. Dude just got a pegboard and printed the mounts to secure it into the wall versus going to the hardware store. And now, and here's for another funny thing. I got your comb. James recently printed this beard comb with our logo on it. And then these 3 spires here, man, the Tyranid spires. Did you print them white, not gray plastic, but you have like white plastic for that?
Yeah, white plastic.
I need to get some white plastic. Yeah, so that's some recent things that went down. I just saw Kat jump in, and she asked how Shadespire went. Hey, Kat. It went great. We had a fun time. I thought I had a picture of us all celebrating, but I don't think I have it loaded up. It wasn't a huge turnout. It was only 4 of us, actually. But we still had a good time, and there was a lot of nice GW swag that we fought for. The cool part – oh, here we go. Got a pick. The cool part was all the Night Volt that was represented. And we show you the pic of us four having a good time at Battlegrounds. Blam! There's Connor, me, Alex, who won, and his roommate Mitch. Mitch and Alex came down from Maryland. They actually came down on the first time we threw a Shadespire tournament. We actually had a much better run that time with 10 people. But my homies came down again because I shot them a personal invite, and they had such a good time last time at Battlegrounds, so it was great to have them. They got to take home a lot of swag. Everybody got some participatory 3D printed Shadespire token holders. You can see that in this picture here. Here's my Shadespire display as I was prepping for the tourney. There was of course the glass Warhammer trophy was up on the line, and then there's a token holder in the top right. Everybody got one of those, which was cool and fun. And our buddy Jack from Innovative Wargaming helped us get those for some prize support, so that was really cool.
That's super
but yeah,
cool.
all the Night Volt, man. It was we had Connor played the Gits, Zarbag's Gits, and Alex, who won, played the Night Haunts, and the Ghost wrecked. They went ham. His deck played like butter, man. It was just like every game he played, he got 20+ glory. The other was the new Stormcast Wizards. But so anyways, like he was like literally he could score off of things. He had so many things that were score instantly, and he was running through all of his objective cards extremely quickly. And it was based on a lot of reactionary situations that were based on what the opponent did. So even when you were doing things, he was scoring off of it versus being totally required to do it himself. It's just an interesting combination, yeah. And then like all the ghosts, they like move through everything. So that was like their niche is that, and that's how they score these weird points based on their unique objectives, is by moving through enemy models. They can do damage and score points. So he was just like constantly like being a ghost and traveling through the warriors and causing little nitpicks of damage with stackable cards to throw on top.
See, that's what's up.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was really well thought out. Alex did a great job.
Sounds like he had cheat mode activated.
It was strong. He wrecked me. So I got second in the tournament. And I was playing Garrick's Reavers, and he was my first match, and he just destroyed me both games. Like I won, I rolled terribly, and I rolled extremely hot the rest of the games, which was funny. But I could not stop him. It was gross. The wizard, even though Connor I'd say the goblins are extremely difficult to play. They take a lot of finesse. They are not as run up in your face. You know, orcs are very much tanky. Let's go fight. The Gits, like they have like a lot of different tools in their toolbox, and I think that you have to really know how to synergize them all together to be overall effective. And it's challenging. We played, so that day, James, you know, my wife was getting ready to, she had this big exam, and it was a 72-hour test. And so I basically had to stay out of the house, and I camped at the game store. I camped at Battlegrounds. And I think I stayed at Battlegrounds for 36 hours over 3 days. And on Saturday, the day I ran the Shadespire tournament, Connor and I stayed there for almost 13 hours and played over 25 games in a row.
Whoa.
It was awesome. I played Shadespire and Kill Team for a total of over 25 games. But what was hilarious is that Connor won 0.
Yes, that's the best part of that story.
He was so sad. But yet happy. But it was, you know, the reason is he was trying so hard to make those damn goblins work, and we like remixed his deck like 6-7 times. That shit was not happening. So that's a thing. And if you're out there can win with the goblins with Shadespire, you know, let's talk strategy, what you like, and all that. Hell, let's have you on the show. And then yeah, the Reavers did great. Kill Team, I fell in love with Thousand Suns during those 25 games. I've been struggling a lot with Thousand Suns and Kill Team, and it was because I was still in the experimental mode, and I really had to sink my teeth into the belief. I've been saying this, but I totally think it's true now, is that Flamers are not that good in Kill Team. They're the reason why is because of the way the turns work with the I move, then you move, and then I shoot, then you shoot. If you move first and you have Flamers everywhere, then you're moving into position. But then they get to move, and they get to move out of position. and then they're out of range of your flamers and shoot you in the face.
Yeah, I understand that logic.
It happens almost every time. And if you're like, oh, my Overwatch is really good, they'll just charge you out of Overwatch, or they'll pile into you to engage you into combat that way by charging something nearby. So many ways to get around those flamers. And so they cost 4 points apiece for an upgrade on a Rubik Marine to give them a Warp Flamer. And everybody loves a Warp Flamer. But, dude, you get those 4 points back. You can fit in a whole nother Rubik Marine if you just ditch all the flamers, all the upgrades. You take 0 upgrades. Take a Twist Spray Zangor as your leader. You squeeze in 1 more Zangor as just a sacrificial annoyance and objective score, and then all the rest are Aspiring Sorcerer and Rubik Marines. The only upgrade you take is a Soul Reaper on the Heavy Specialist, because that gun rules. And then you just rock out with the Inferno Bolt guns. They're tight because they're just like bolters, but they have -2 AP. So it's kind of disgusting.
Sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it's really good. And you just take a bunch of that and you kick ass. Let's see what Gordito says. I advance people and it makes them either advance or move in bad spots. Yeah, when it works out, it works out. But I'd say for the majority of times, it does not. And that's coming from a lot of trial and error, a lot. And see, like, what I get sometimes is that, like, you look on Facebook, when people are suggesting, like, weapon loadouts, and the Flamer comes up as a suggestion, I have to question how many games they've played with those Flamers, against what opponents, with what kind of terrain, like, what kind of details go into their opinion being formed that way. Because I know out of trying Burna Boys, out of trying the Warp Flamers, that I've seen Flamer Cultists, like, I've looked at each army to who can maximize the most flames. And, and for the cheapest. And, like, even when you take a buttload of them, it doesn't work out nearly as effective as a shit ton of shots at a longer range, because they can't escape it that much more easy. I don't know. You can get a good flame in, but I don't believe in them.
Yeah, you get that good flame in.
I don't believe in them. And especially for the fact, no matter what, with 1,000 Sun list, the fact that you can squeeze in an entire other Rubik Marine by ditching the Flamers makes it all worth it to me. That extra Rubik Marine body is awesome. All is dust is a badass rule. When the Rubik, it's tight, James, because you have the Aspiring Sorcerer and then you have the Rubik Marines. And the Aspiring Sorcerer is the only one that's actually human. The Rubik Marines, because he has the Space Marine rule, the transhuman physiology, but the rest of the Rubik Marines, they don't have that. They have the all is dust, and they're basically walking dust bags going along with the Aspiring Sorcerer. It's tight. Yeah, I like Flamer on the Demolition Specialist too. I mean, I get it, but I hate it when they just get out of range, or when your Flamer does nothing in a game and you lose that cool model, that Demo Specialist, because of the factors that are where they charge out of range of the Flamer, they charge from out of line of sight, they pile into the thing, they shoot it down from long range. All those things make me hate the Flamer. You got to at least get a shot off.
Sounds to me like you need to get good, Schmo.
Yo, I'm just saying.
Just
saying, Flames. But yeah, it's all about who you're playing, what you're going against, things of that nature too. But something I'm real excited about, James, something else I got to do over the weekend is go against the Gellerpox. And here's the Gellerpox you're painting right now that you're painting up, and it's amazing. Oh my God. Look at that. That's a Nightmare Hulk, I believe.
Yeah, it's a Nightmare Hulk.
It's fucking gorgeous.
It
looks really cool, dude.
Yeah. It's cool.
I like it. The fun part about going against them is that, unlike any kill team I've gone against, or when you play the chaos kill teams, this had the demonic feel. Like, they feel like demons. They have summoning, they have teleportation, they're all close combat. You got these big, like, badass dudes that are like slow hulking monsters with all these fast little buggy demons, little minions. It had a very minion / demon prince style feel to it.
That's cool because these guys are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Got 9 of them done so far. There's just so many of them.
So pumped. Yeah, this is, and you know, the Rogue Trader box, I will state again, I think is one of the coolest values for the Kill Team box sets, or just in general, because you get 2 complete kill teams with their full weapon loadout options. Now, granted that you could take probably multiples of the minions that they don't give you enough of to be able to actually field without buying like another box or something. But they basically give you everything you need to rock the kill team in a variety of fashions. I've yet to figure out if there is more, if I will want more of something that I don't have out of that, you know, like to duplicate more of them.
Yeah, Nightmare Hulks.
You can only fit like 3, I think, maybe 4 in a list.
Well, you only get 3, and then you get the other special named ones.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Those guys are badass, though. Oh my god, it looks cool. I can't even take it off the screen.
I just don't understand. Is like the person inside the original person that is possessed, or is it like, yeah, cut himself open, put him in, and then like sew himself back up to like feed? Like, I don't understand. I want to understand.
You got problems, dog.
You got problems. 99 problems.
Yeah.
But a bitch ain't one.
It ain't one. It just Nurgle. So for Funzy, I'll just mention that we recently put up a live bat rep. I was thankful to put up some content. It's been a struggle to play some games and produce some stuff for you guys. It's been a wild whirlwind, especially with the wife doing her test thing. I'm about to go out of town for like 2 weeks, so we're gonna hopefully I'll be able to make the next Thursday show. It'll be going on one way or the other, but yeah, we're going on a little hiatus for a couple weeks of the games coming at fast pursuit, but man, we're gonna hit it real hard in the November-December time period, and 2019 is gonna be crazy, dog. We ain't fucking around.
Yeah, we broke 1,500. That's pretty cool.
1508 before we jumped on. Yeah, thank you everyone, and if you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in and all that, subscribing. It makes us feel good. 2019. Look at these new colored dice that'll be coming. Getting 1,000 of these dice, man. Can't wait for that vortex green. And
I know I'm getting 36 of those vortex green.
Oh God, they're pretty.
Like, I have to get some vortex green in my life.
They're dope, man. They are so dope.
Like, I would like some of those like reddish purplish ones, but those vortex just need to be in my life.
Yeah. We'll at least split get a couple of the, just to keep. I want to have like at least 2 to 4 of every color, as time goes along.
Yeah, colors. Hey, it's Chris.
Hey, what's up, Chris? Yo, man.
What's up, guys? Sorry to be so late. Work needed me.
How dare you? No, good to see you, man. Cheers.
Yeah, I was excited to regale the internet and Connor about how I took a savage beating. I don't know if you've already gone through that.
I was just putting up the old thumbnail there. Yeah, that's our latest video on the YouTubes is Drukari versus the Tyranids. And
man,
Chris, you got defeated. He
kicked the crap out of me.
Yeah, he hadn't even beat you on the channel yet.
He beat me once with almost the exact same list. I mean, I can go into all kinds of tactical breakdown on that, quite frankly.
Do it. While you're talking, I'm gonna grab my orc buggies to show off next. So you tell the story.
Very well. Well, internets. What had happened is Connor, first of all, he played his list very well. Eldar are, well known for being a very they have a lot of really effective tools. Connor is familiar with a lot of these tools, and recently he started using grotesques. My list doesn't like grotesques, first of all. That 4 wound level and the 6 up feel no pain coupled with the 4 up invuln. I mean, that's almost like one of my hive tyrants. Slower toughness. They're very killy. He chokeholded me in the middle, which my army is usually extremely middle dominant. His army is also extremely middle dominant. This is one of the few armies, even compared to knights, that was just able to soak and soak and soak and continue to lock me. He kept my guns from shooting. I didn't fall back as intelligently as I could have, nor did I space my models as much as I could have. I felt I played a very bad movement phase continually, to be honest. But it was a disappointing way to see that list kind of go out, is the truth. I was expecting at least a much closer game. Normally, I've, not to toot my own horn, but trounced Connor left and right. And he really, all I had left at the end of the game, I think, was 2 Tyrannofexes, which, I mean, you know, it's almost 500 points. But, like, he had, the only thing I killed the entire game, I think, completely was a 5-man unit of, or 7-man unit of Rax. I mean, he just whooped the crap out of me. In early game, I was very quickly from a morale standpoint, becoming defeated just because he was outscoring me every single turn. I wasn't getting kills at all. His stuff was just tanking everything. He made smart plays with his deep strike reserves, keeping them off the board until everything was basically already locked and was at very low threat of actually getting hurt. He wrapped things correctly. Connor played a spectacular game, in my opinion. I think I played a very poor game. I wish I'd played better for Connor and myself, quite frankly. However, that being said, really good list. I'm still happy with my list. I see it getting tweaked in the future and run probably at events and tournaments. However, this is the last time we're going to see the triple Tyrannofex on the channel for a little while, at least. There's a ton of concepts. I'm extremely excited to experiment with Tyranids. A lot of stuff that some people think is even arguably more competitive. I want to run 80, 120 Gene Stealers. I want to run the Flying Hive Tyrants that are all gunners rather than have them as a close combat element. I want to run, you know, actually the Tyrannofex list was birthed out of a Carnifex spam list. I'm happy to bring back old One Eye and some Carnifex friends into my list regularly because a lot of people have fun with those. They're very cinematic. I like Carnifexes. I mean, I already run at least 2 in most of my lists. Right. But yeah, the game with Connor, I think the final score, he didn't double my score, but he got pretty close to doubling my score. I think was accurate. I could be wrong. And yeah.
It was so that, you know, check that out, y'all, if you want to see that in play. It was I was laughing at the salt, Chris, because it was funny. You were very Tyranids.
Listen,
Tyranids.
I'm still kind of salty. I'm disappointed in myself, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I love that that fire.
I just like I was telling Connor, like, you know, like, it would be one thing if he stopped my Tyrannofexes from shooting like most of the turns that he got near them, but every single turn I'm just like, dude, like, I am just like giving this away in terms of like the shooting. Like, I'm not focusing enough. I don't know if it was because I was rattled because of a few things that happened, but I mean, he beat the snot out of me. He earned that win. No doubt. I was very sad to see that James was watching, at least partially, because I was like, oh, he is just watching me get my teeth kicked in right now.
James, thank you for that, Chris. James, what have you been up to 40K wise? Anything in particular?
Honestly, nothing particular. Just going to a tournament on Saturday, doing some doubles action. I always love a good doubles game.
Yeah, very cool.
Where's that at?
Yeah, it's in Wakanda, local.
Wakanda?
Yeah, exactly where Black Panther's from.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
It is.
So they were founding this town, and like, what was? I have to look this place up now.
Wakanda, Illinois. Look it up.
That's unrelated to this, though. I guess somewhat.
Damn.
That's cool, though. You have a. I mean, not to give away your secrets, but you have an idea what you're running already, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Get some renegade night action with a bunch of cultists that are fearless. Yeah, it's a good time.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Man, I was trying so hard here to get this to be on the fly and go to a secondary camera. Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that good? I have it didn't work, but I do have some orc buggies that I want to show. See if I can try to do that without wrecking
orc
everything.
buggies.
Yes.
What kind of orc
Look at these
buggies?
things. Let me try to get there.
Yeah. Oh, I see things.
The logistics. Yeah, but I think I can run these as the new orc buggies. Put the proper bases on them. I got a lot of variety in here.
Oh yeah, I don't think people are gonna give you any kind of grief on that. I mean,
I give you
and
so much grief. Fuck that shit.
okay, well, I won't give you any grief, George. I can't speak to James.
Yeah, I think they're pretty cool, and I'm excited to run them. I got some varieties there. All trying to be fancy with cameras and shit. Man, I almost wrecked this whole studio just now trying to do stuff live.
My God, George, be careful.
What am I doing?
My computer's in there as well as all of your 40k stuff
Yeah.
on top of the camera.
I'm gonna be a tornado Tasmanian. Whew. Yeah, I almost wrecked everything.
Well,
so James, tell us about this thing, this cool lithograph. What'd you call the thing?
oh, he's got a lithograph printer thing?
No, I have a 3D printer, and it prints lithographs.
That's insane.
And that's just super cool.
That is super cool.
I said
Oh,
that.
yeah. You showed us this, actually. That's right.
I don't know what I'm doing, so I printed it as a negative instead of a positive. But hey, learning.
Progress, man. Plus, I mean, the negatives are kind of cool in their own way.
That's what she said.
Is that oh, man. Anyways.
Yeah. Gordito Spree was asking what clan. I don't know what clan I will run yet, but it'll definitely be the cheesiest, most bastardly, most taken fun seriously clan there is out there.
Dude, you have so many basically exactly what are Tyranid Hive Fleet traits. There's a few differences. I think that they're going to be really good.
I got like 16,000 points of orcs, man. I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
It's so good. I mean, the big difference is what the fallback and charge one they have isn't just charging; they can also shoot with it, which is nasty.
Just a quick compliment to you, Chris. I would say that it was pretty inspiring to see that game of yours and Connor's. It was nice to see Connor with some cool looking models. Those potato sack samurais. They were like samurais. With
they're
sacks.
like actually, I think they might be out of Kabuki miniatures. I'm not sure.
The dude from the Batman with the Bane fellows.
Yeah,
where he wears the mask of a sack looking thing. They look like that, and it was badass. But it looked really cool, looked really thematic, and that alone was pulling at my heartstrings to want to play some 40k. I was like, God, that looks fucking tight.
Yeah, I mean, just the cool factor. I think honestly, in its own way, since you mentioned that, that's a big reason why I've been so inclined to keep playing the same list. Because I really like the fact that I have 3 Tyrannofexes that I feel like are well painted.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great.
Exactly. So like moving
Monster
to a new
Mash.
list, I'm gonna have to paint more stuff, obviously, but that's a good thing. That's part of what the hobby's about. I think a lot of the stuff I'm gonna be painting is cool big models. I'm not excited to try to paint up 120 Gene Stealers. I have like a fifth of that painted. That doesn't make me happy.
I got definitely orcs are exciting, but I also got an itch to be playing some chaos and some demons, and I do look forward to once we get these Gellerpox in our possession. I'll try to throw them in the Nurgle list.
Dude, also, I mean, I don't want to get distracted too quickly, but this commander stuff for Kill Team, it looks really, really cool, man.
Yeah, I ranted a bit as we got. I was pretty much right off the gate. I couldn't hold myself back.
I don't get me wrong. I know James isn't on the Kill Teams thing, but like, I think while I don't think it necessarily matches the vision I explicitly like in my head, I would love it if commanders were only run, like 30% of the time. Like I wish there was more validity in not running them, essentially. But once again, dude, they look like they're gonna add so much to the game.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think everybody will. I think that 200 points is cool. I've never played a 200-point kill team game, you know, and I think just that alone would be interesting, even if you went to just double with no commanders, you know. And I don't think it'll be an auto take for everybody.
I think the only thing that for me is kind of, and I speak about this from some degree of ignorance, but like coming from partially the Magic crowd, the Gathering crowd, when I was, you know, like younger, whatever. I revisit the game every few editions. You know, we'll pick up some cards, me and some old friends, crack open some boosters, whatever. And there's these things that are basically commanders that are called planeswalkers that have been added to the game.
Yep.
And it's just kind of aggravating because at every competitive level of Magic, the planeswalkers are in every single deck. Like, there's none that don't have it. Like, and that to me is kind of sad, but at the same time, like, obviously if there's a large variety of them, and there are a large variety of commanders, because, you know, I think a lot of people were only expecting like one, but, you know, multiple factions have multiple. Genestealer Cult has 4, Tyranids have 2.
Yeah,
I think that adds a lot.
Yeah, well, plus the amount of different customizations you can do to each one. That one model has like 10 different ways to play the thing.
I mean, even Connor was like freaked out about what was it, the Altar could take wings.
Yeah, no, it's tight. There's a lot of variety, and it's interesting the costs that are tied to benefits and like weighing which ones are better than others and how you want to play it. I think it's very moldable.
And there's a lot of just really gross stratagems they added. You know, like being able to increase the cost on your opponent's stratagems or reduce the cost on your own stratagems.
Yeah,
not through stratagems, but
even
through
just
mechanics.
like seeing the psychic spread all throughout the book. Like now there's so much psychic. Like seeing powers that you're used to seeing. When some reason when you see them with Kill Team ingrained and you're reading in the commander book, you're like, oh my god! Like the you know, like the standard Eldar powers, conceal, reveal. Fortune, like just like these stuff that you just didn't have access to period before. Now it's like you're just loaded with the opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, even, you know, Connor was telling about his Grey Knights, like they have that power that's like it damages. There's a chance to damage models within 3 inches of that on a 4-up with a mortal wound. That's gross. Because obviously mortal wounds and kill teams are disgusting.
Yep. Yeah, Gordito knows what's up. Yeah, he's talking about the company commander aura is dirty too. Yeah, it's nuts, man. I'm excited to see it in play. I mean,
you noticed?
Yeah, go ahead.
You noticed this far more than I did. I mean, I was super excited for God, the Broodlord, but the cost is insanely prohibitive on the Broodlord for kill teams.
Yeah, it was absurd.
I mean, granted, the Broodlord is really good, but I feel like if he doesn't have the character protection rule, I don't know. I haven't played Commanders yet. The Warrior looks awesome. I'm so excited to field a Warrior Prime.
Warrior's perfect, yeah.
Because he's garbage in 40k, and like literally, he's like almost 40 points more than a Neurothrope in 40k, and is way worse. And is like
he's
dude,
ideal
like,
for buffing with the new strategies, the new specialisms.
Oh, dude, especially that you mentioned something akin to, you know, you can take like different specializations on one guy through some kind of metric. Like, I mean, to be able to have a part heavy gunner on something else, or, you know, like the hit or a buff coming off that commander. I mean, I was kind of daunted just trying to think of the pot. Like, I knew I wasn't even going to, if we played a game the other day, be able to scratch the surface of potential.
Yeah. I just threw it up on the screen. You were describing the commander traits. So each commander can take 3 upgrades, and the upgrades cost points, and they're basically akin to warlord traits. And so for 15 points, you can add to your commander's cost to be able to take D3 command points at the start of the game. You can do 15 points, and if you're a level 4 commander, you can choose a level 1 from a whole nother specialism. And if you're, you can not choose that one and go, you can actually do that and additionally spend another 30 points, and you can choose 2 more abilities with inside your own specialism. So for 15 points, you pick an ability from another specialism. For 30 points, you can take 2 additional specialism or abilities with inside the one you're already taking. So yeah, it gets nuts. You can really crank shit up. I've found that I'm not upgrading anyone beyond level 3. as far as like right now, I'm operating in my mind on not adjusting my typical kill teams, trying to keep them at their usual 100-point team, and then building a commander to stay right at about that 100-point, 105-point cost, so I don't have to adjust my standard play tactics with my normal kill team. That's where I've been playing with it so far, and that's where it's curious. So like usually you end up not paying for a level 4. You just pick your favorite abilities in the skill tree for a level 3 and under, and then that saves you enough points to be able to buy some of those upgrades, particularly getting D3 command points at the beginning of the game, and that's really about it. The thing that I think is interesting about the Broodlord, though, is I'm really curious to see what it's like to just deck him out with the Fortitude specialism. Let's see.
I actually, when you mentioned it, honestly, we were discussing that the other day because of how survivable it makes them, because you can get like a -2 on the injury roll.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I mean, he's almost like a light Hive Tyrant. I mean, offensively, he's the same as a Hive Tyrant in 40k. Like literally, he has the exact same weapon I always run.
So I got my spreadsheet up. Let's check it out. So Fortitude, if you take him out, if you maxed him out and you took him as level 4, he's your entire army. Maybe one.
You could take one Hormigaunt.
Yeah, one Hormigaunt. So you get a 6+ Feel No Pain. If you already had that, you could. If you put Catalyst on him, then all of a sudden your Catalyst with reroll
5
once. Yep.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, because if you already have Feel No Pain and you're a level 1 Fortitude specialism, then you can reroll the ones on that. So you cast.
Dude, that's disgusting. That makes him so good.
So now you're a 5+ Feel No Pain reroll ones.
That's so good.
Then you have the damage that goes against them. So any
plus, it's a 5-up invuln.
Now all multi-damage weapons is reduced by half. Then you become +1 toughness. Was he toughness 4 already? He becomes toughness 5.
Toughness 5 already, so he's toughness 6.
Geez, so all that strength 5 goes to all heavy bolters and shit are now through 5s. Subtract 1 from the injury rolls, and then you have tactics to make it so that they subtract. If you're already -1 from injury rolls for being level 4, and then if you spend 2 command points, you can make it a total of -3 on the injury roll.
Plus, also George, he has 5 wounds, a 3-up save, 5-up invuln. That's so good. I don't think it'll win, but I want to try it.
So for 1 command point on a 5+, you can remove flesh wounds in the morale phase.
What?
Yeah. So you take flesh wounds, you can just remove them.
Oh, that's so good. I absolutely want to try this, George, at some point. It's going to probably be one of the faster games we play, but I want to do it.
Or if you max out on strength, he becomes pretty crazy too. Then he gets +1 strength. He adds 1 to his wound rolls. He gets +1 attack, +1 damage.
Oh,
so everything he does would get additional damage. Yeah.
His weapon already re-rolls to wound, and it's going to be strength 6 base +1, so 7. Oh.
Yeah. And then you can even make it so your attacks for a command point, like if you get a hit, then it does a mortal wound. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What is this? There's a tactic for 1 command point. Declare if you hit causes mortal wound.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called like impossible shot or something like that.
That's disgusting. I'm looking at your spreadsheet at the bottom. I just saw that. I was like, oh man, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Apparently level 3 strength is lame. I don't know what that is, but level 3 strength is lame.
Oh yeah, it wasn't worth it. Yeah, it was dumb, man, whatever. nothing valuable. But yeah, check out Commander if you haven't out there, friends. It is epic. I cannot wait to play it. I'm fucking fiending to play it, like shaking inside. Like literally, when I start to think about how cool Commander is, like I imagine like clouds parting and a ray of sunshine hitting just me and the angels singing.
I am hopping off camera for like not even 30 seconds.
Nice. James, is that how Commander makes you feel, dude? Do you get the clouds parting with the sun shining and the angels singing? And
no. Not even in the slightest, bro.
Generalist is my favorite. I take shooting throughout level 3 skills.
You know, so I had an interesting conversation with Connor in the car. I know he's listening. And I don't know yet that I agree or disagree with you. I don't think I disagree with you, George. As my precursor to what I'm about to say. Delving into kill teams first glance, I think right now, and this is a loaded thing to say, I think it is probably a more competitive game purely than 40k. I am a little. I can't say how much I've tested this. However, 40k is still my absolute love. Just period. There's not a game that can replace it. Period. To me,
I remembered why I felt
it's very emotional to me.
I felt my love when I saw how beautiful that board was the other day, and I was like, yeah, this is why I love this game. Is, you know, like just how thematic that was, how the interplay played out, where you guys like fighting in the middle and going through those corridors and having those rocks like be able to stop movement. That shit was tight, you know.
I will say though, at like the way a lot of the rules are written to me, and this is carrying a lot of internal bias with this statement. Kill teams and the way things work in phases the way they do, to me, it feels a little closer to Magic than 40k does. And I consider Magic the Gathering to be, I mean, I think most people that are nerds consider Magic the Gathering to be one of the more regularly known to be competitive games. They have an extremely competitive established scene.
I think what's better than both, but like what outdoes it in those cases though is like the thing that I find most makes me feel good is that it's not a pay to play situation. Like,
well, it's because of how elite your forces are. I feel like it's very difficult to make it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can see exactly what you need to buy, and once you buy it, you have it, and there's not like this, I need to go on this constant buy something else. Besides, like, okay, the Commander book comes out or whatever, but it's like the dude that just won with all the Wave Serpents. Like, he had to go and make the decision to have a fuck ton of Wave Serpents, which isn't practical, and like
I think it's a very cool army, I'll be honest.
It was totally a cool army. It was totally a cool army. But at the same token, like, it's an expensive army, and you have a whole bunch of vehicles and nothing else. Like, you say you play Eldar. If that was all you had, you don't play Eldar, you play Wave Serpent. This is like what you have. You know, there's that love of the backdrop and the
you know, I'll be honest, before I saw that list, and this is going to show ignorance, and this is just me being a standard Tyranid player because I don't know vehicles, I didn't realize dedicated transports could break the rule of 3 rule.
Oh, really? Yeah, no.
That was shocking to me. I saw that list, I was like, he can do that? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We're talking about a dude that won an event recently with Wave Serpents. Oh, I actually have it up. Check it out. I actually have it loaded up. Here is the list. I forget what GT he won with this, but it kicked some ass. And I can see why it'd be great. I've gone against, you know, I was mentioning how I played against this many Wave Serpents in a tabletop simulator game versus War Magic, but then I've also, you know, played against Connor quite a few times with spamming these, even Ali a few times. I thought the coolest part was the same Han, or San, however the fuck you say it.
Seinheim, something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool because you don't see that very often, and that was just a nice a nice touch there. But, you know, at the same token, what I was getting at is just that I love that somebody can buy a box set of Grey Knights or whatever and be able to play that game, be able to play Kill Team in its fullest, and not feel like money is separating them from defeating their opponent, or even competing in the first place. Like, if you're just starting out with Warhammer and you got your 1,000, your 1,500 points, even your 2,000 points, but it's just like what you could put together based on what people handed you, what you could paint it up. You can just keep the variety going. I'm just very much a spice is life, you know, variety is the spice of life kind of feeling, and I want to change up what I'm playing a lot. And I love that sideboard feel with the command roster. I love being able to carry 5 different armies with me when I go play somewhere and be able to have, you know, the random one-off game, and you can actually teach somebody to play for their first time and still have a fun game right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on, and that's not even about competitive, but because of that barrier being broken of cost, then people can feel like they can compete, you know, and jump in the first place, or you know, feel like good tactics is what won or lost in the game, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man.
I think Kill Team does even a better job than that than Shadespire. And when I first started playing Shadespire, I thought that was highly competitive, and it is a very competitive game. But you still have to have an equal playing field of having all the cards at your disposal. Otherwise, there's a feeling of like, well, if I had these cards, I could have won, or maybe could have won. The more you can eliminate, if I had this, then I could play. the better the game is to me.
Certainly. I mean, I agree with that. That being said, I know I've touched on this a little bit in the chat, but like fielding models for like the veterans, or people that just have vast collections of models they don't use, like Grey Knight players are largely in the shitter right now. Oh, sorry. But like kill teams, they're not bad in kill teams, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Like the people that are like true fans of their faction and army. I don't mean that to disparage the competitive scene by any stretch of the imagination, but there are some people that just love their faction.
Like Necron fans.
Yeah, exactly. Like Necron fans. It's good to see them be able to field their models competitively when the rules are bad in 40k, quote unquote.
Yeah, well, I think the ones that get it kind of rough right now is the orcs, and that's what's interesting about Commander is that I think for the people that started playing kill teams and were excited about playing their orcs and might not had a good time, it's exciting to see where that's going to go by applying the commanders. Because again, I feel like we just got really the full rule set. They were baby feeding us the kill team rules, and Commander was always intended. And I don't think the orcs were ever going to be able to shine as much as they hopefully will be able to now with the Commander rule set, because I've really struggled with them. As far as somebody I think that's one faction that you can really have a lot of. There's the hardcores, like the people that play orcs are usually pretty big orc fans, and there still hasn't been a lot of rewarding feeling in kill team for the orcs yet compared to the other factions. I haven't studied the orc commanders yet, but hopefully that changes it up a bit.
Yeah, I just I gotta be honest, George. When I saw the Warrior Prime for Tyrannus as a commander, it actually gave me a lot of hope for Chapter Approved. Like that was like internally, like the gears turning in my head. I was like, oh, dude, like they really didn't change much, but he's really good in this. Like,
yeah,
like
they're paying attention.
Make Tyrannus great again. Make them greater.
Indeed.
I want them to eat knights, just unapologetically. I don't have any feel bads. I don't have any feel badsies against knights, but I just want to be able to do it. Make my codex OP. I deserve it.
Chris,
I demand it.
Are you able to see James on the screen right now, or on your?
Let me see. One moment.
James, you gotta show Chris what you're painting, dude. Chris,
dude, yeah, I haven't been looking, James. I see you now.
He printed this amazing object.
Uh-oh. Let me see this.
It's a dong!
Oh my god, it's a fucking chest burster thing. That's amazing. I'm super happy. That's about as Tyranid as it gets.
Or about as penisy as it gets.
Listen. It's my dream, okay?
That is one phallic ass alien right there. Look at that.
You got a question in the chat, George, by the way, but
oh, we just got $2 from Crocodicle. That's amazing. We've never had it. No one's ever gave us. That's amazing.
You are the MVP right now. Also, big like on the Aku. But yeah.
Yes, Crocodicle gets it. He understands the power of the chest burster.
Woo.
Yes.
That's awesome. So let's see. Let's try to answer this. Thoughts on 1K Suns commanders? Right. Sorcerers seem overcosted. Yes, I definitely do have a thought. I am taking the Zangor Shaman because of how cheap he is, and I'm going to take him as a level 3 strategist commander. And then what I'll take is what I've been showing on the screen here. For strategist on the tree, I'm going to take +1 command point. When you're within 3 inches, make your other specialist count as +1 level. So that'll make my heavy specialist with the Soul Reaper. He'll count as a heavy specialist level 2. And then you'll be able to rock that guy with double shots. And then on top of everything else, what I'm super excited about, I can't believe that you can make things be 1 command point instead of 2, -1 cost to all your tactics. So now you can override combat for 1, you can override shooting for 1, and then on top of that, you have a tactic that costs 2 usually to make your opponent spend an extra command point for any of their tactics. Now it only costs you 1. That's ridiculous, and that's for being a level 3 strategist, and that'll be my Zangor Shaman. So freaking awesome. Can't wait. I'm going to have so many command points and so much control. And plus, of course, he has the...
Chicken Bone just slapped us in the face with his chicken bone as a heads up.
Oh, damn.
Dang.
Oh,
See, dude,
man.
it's all about the dang dick 3D thing. I forgot to show it, man.
Yeah, the chest bracelet got real hard in my hand.
Yeah. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the hookup there. I am so excited.
We'll not spend it on liquor unless you want us to.
Wait, can I spend it on liquor?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yes, I'm taking the Gaze of Fate. That's what I meant to say. You can like when you're Thousand Suns, you can take on your Zang or Shaman, you can take Gaze of Fate and be able to get yourself an additional reroll, which is dope. And another crazy strategist tactic that they have is that for 1 command point, you can use a second time in the same phase one of the core rule tactics. So for you can override combat. Say I charge in with 2, like a Zangor and then my combat specialist. I can override combat and twice. You could do it once, and it only costs you 1 command point because you're a level 3 strategist commander, and instead of 2. And then you can spend a command point to do it a second time and fight with the other guy before they fight, which is just crazy. It's like a whole different game. Yeah, you get me excited. That is exactly the first commander I'm running is going to be a Thousand Suns commander team. And so you got me really hyped because that's exactly what I want to talk about. Oh, Crocodicle. You made me so happy. And then Chicken Bone hooking it up, dude. I don't even know what to say. We got his fucking penis.
Dude, you are so just like infatuated with phallic objects.
Look at how bulbous and veiny it is.
Dude, I put this thing to shame. I've measured.
My God.
It's like I'm using the tabletop alchemy as like a bleeper. He went crazy with it. Yeah, we're getting ready to start a 3D printed company, and James is leading the way. And I've been telling him that maybe our niche is to make some phallic-like objects, some favorable adult toys. And look at him leading the way, the innovator, Alien Cox.
Dude, this is my Halloween costume to take my kid trick-or-treating. I'm going to wear it on my chest, and then when I go out drinking, I'm going to put it out of my pants. And I hope I'm not going to get a Me Too charge.
Oh, my God. But it's so cool, though. But not Me Too stuff. But, I mean that's... damn. Anyways, I'm going out of town for 2 weeks. The only thing, you might see some random Age of Sigmar champions showing up on Twitch. Let me just give a holler.
It's gonna be a little bit of a slow week.
Yeah. I gotta do 12 days of hanging Christmas lights.
Yo, so Kat just sent me this picture of this model.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm gonna put it in our group chat in what's it called? Warp Charge. And you don't have to link it, but I'm super impressed by it. I like it.
Oh man, Crocodicle just hooked us up again, man. I appreciate it, man. He said good job for not forgetting the rules. Well, I've studied the rules hard on the old Kill Teams when it came out.
Oh, dude, Chicken Bone, Kingdom Death.
Yeah, Kingdom Death.
Cat, you can talk to Cat, who I know is in the chat right now as well. But that looks like such an amazing game.
Yeah, I've been trying to play Kingdom Death for a hot second.
Yeah, the models are so gorgeous. Compared, I feel this is I can't say I haven't worked with the models firsthand, so I can't speak to it. But they to me seem to be almost comparable quality to Forge World versus regular 40k.
I love co-op. I love the idea of co-op. That's fun as hell. I've been trying to think of how to do a co-op kill team situation at the store where I'm like the NPC player playing like demons and shit, and getting people kind of working together. I think that's really fun and exciting sounding. But yeah, Kingdom Death tight. From what I've understood, I don't know if you caught this when I was ranting late at night the other night, Chris, but I played in my 36 hours at the game store triathlon. I played some Pathfinder. I recently did some role playing. Hadn't done it since I was about 16.
Wait, you actually played when you were younger?
Yeah, back in the day, I did all kinds.
I wasn't aware.
That's how I got into gaming, was Dungeons and Dragons and shit.
I mean, you told me that. I think I just didn't. For some reason, the Pathfinder didn't stick to me.
I never played Pathfinder till.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What I understood is that you'd played a little in the past, a while back.
No,
that seems really interesting as a game system to me because of the RPG element fused with the competitive gaming kind of element.
That part, if that's what you like about it, then yes, it's great. What I was interested in, the fact that here I was wanting to role play, and I feel like that was 10% of what actually happened. It was like literally
interesting.
All of like these guys. It was just like whenever you watch somebody play 40k and you didn't know anything about it, and how like it's another language where they're like ranting out numbers and how those numbers apply to one another, and whatever. That's all it was. Is like so many about what modifiers they had, how these rules interacted with what somebody wanted to do.
Interesting.
There was very little moments of like.
So you felt that was kind of like clinical.
Yeah, I was like, I got I was a halfling bard.
Thank you. I think.
All I wanted to do was, shenanigans, and it was all about what my intelligence modifiers were and everything. And I don't know. I was not impressed with the level of role playing. It literally is just a strategist game based on knowing the rules and like how you can build your characters and use it. I don't know.
So, okay, like this is actually a point.
Yeah, that sounds lame to me.
This is something I've said to Connor, I think, before, at least. I think I mentioned to you, George. James, I don't think you would care. So like the 40k, the RPGs like Horus Heresy or Dark Heresy and all of those, I'm super hype. I would be ecstatic to play any of them. I would be the biggest RP nerd ever. But I have the worst schedule in the world in terms of work, and I've never been able to get a consistent group. So if we can pull that off, George, if you're like looking for more RP-ish kind of game, we should do it. And we should absolutely investigate one of the 40k ones, I think. But
yeah. Well, there's that new 40k Warhammer quest that's supposed to be coming out. I'm highly intrigued by that.
Oh, Kat's actually mentioned playing some D&D herself, like online. We could absolutely do that at some point, I'm sure. That would almost certainly. I imagine online campaigns are probably the best way to go about that kind of thing. But again,
there were some cool things about they have a really neat way for players to jump in and out, and they already have like a nice backdrop so that the random group of people that meet up on a weeknight have a reason to all have met up. Like you're like this organization, that they kind of like they reach out for Pathfinders to accomplish tasks, and you're just a bunch of dudes for hire in the same place. But they're like their player system like has a digital component to it where like you authenticate your character through the GM who's like who's regulated to be a host by Pathfinder. And all your stuff gets updated and can be taken forever on like through the game systems across the country wherever you end up playing. It's kind of a neat situation they have going on there, and you're playing like a season of campaigns that the writers have done, and each night that you would play, it's designated to be like a 4 to 6 hour game. So you're supposed to be able to sit down and complete like an entire episode in that sitting, and you could come back weeks, months later, whatever, So I mean, like all that's like really intriguing. But like, dude, like the first thing that happens is I sat down, and it was like, I mean, it felt like an eternity, but like 15, 20 minutes worth of just straight reading the backdrop of the story. And for the folks that were familiar with like some of the terminology, it's like they could understand like kind of the gist of what was going on in this setup story. But for me, it was just like I'm just like waiting for us to get into the action. it's like I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and it just doesn't. The context didn't have much, so I found it to be overall. I would rate as boring. Yeah. My favorite time of doing my last time role playing was with a good buddy, and it was literally we had no. We just had pen and paper and dice for whenever you felt like you wanted to roll off on a circumstantial situation, but otherwise it was just like minds versus minds. Like if I could make up what I wanted to be the case and he agreed to it or couldn't find a way to talk me out of that situation, then it would happen. And we'd go through like epic fight sequences of explaining like how we would go through the battle, trying to kind of like almost like a battle of mind between player and GM. And I had a great time that way. There was not a single like rule to digest, and it was just all about the decisions you wanted to make. So yeah, overall wasn't impressed. Rather play Kingdom Death by far. Game looks way cooler.
Makes sense.
Random rambling.
I mean, that's good for me to know because honestly, that to me makes the game seem unattractive. Like if I was to get in a game like that, I would want the RP element to be more than just like 10%. I mean, obviously that's your first experience. You can't necessarily say that's the way it always is or
Right.
that's the way it is with every group. But, like that, like I would like at least like, I'm in my head, I'm thinking like 30 to 40% ish, RP element,
For sure. For sure.
like that's cool.
Yeah, there were certain game mechanics that I thought really was cool, like how they did like the fog of war and like the relativeness of space and time and things of that nature. I like statistics when statistics make sense, but it gets a little crazy. Like you get out of the narrative when you just start thinking of all your weapons and the way you look as modifiers. You have to act and talk like your character unless you talk out of character. I would suggest playing Kingdom Death on Tabletop Simulator before buying it. Yeah, it hurts your soul and wallet. Yeah, I've seen people that get into it seem to have spent thousands every time. Anybody that's ever been like, yo, like I'm like, what's that? Some Kingdom Death? They're like, yeah, I'm like a couple grand in every time, but I never can get a game on with them.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about the cost.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like my logic is just sell a 40k army. Like as someone who has like 2.5 40k armies, I'm just like, yeah, just liquidate one force to build another. Like
sensible. You guys need to read the All Guardsmen Party on YouTube. Necrobeardia. It's essential to a Dark Heresy
Ooh, that sounds awesome, Chicken Bone. I actually I've sat in game stores reading the Dark Heresy rules because it seems what's the word? Sorry. Fascinating to me. Sorry. The sauce hit me a little hard on that one. Damn you, vodka. Anyways. Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. The only thing that kind of I'm apprehensive about is I've always heard in all these 40k RPGs, like I feel like the only thing I want to be is a psyker, and everything that I've read or been told suggests everyone hates running in company of psychers because they're so unpredictable and will get you killed.
Sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great.
But that's just what I've been told. Who knows?
I'm about that. More games. I'm also Speed Freaks is going to be in the vicinity soon. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to try that out. I basically have an itch for a death race game. I'd really love to play Gaslands. I'd love to cover that. It seems like GW is always the thing that everybody adopts and you get the most opportunity to play, so that might be what goes down. Gaslands is a growing community, though. I'd love to be able to get involved with that. It's really tight. Hot Wheel cars converted into death machines.
I guess.
It's like Twisted Metal, but on the tabletop instead of on your
Twisted
PlayStation.
Metal, yeah. Mad Max, all that.
That's what you're into.
Yeah, James. Yeah.
James, wait, George, are we going to have you next Thursday or no? No?
I'm not sure where I'll be or what
Well,
I'll be doing.
if we don't, James, we absolutely have to have your detailed rundown of this tournament coming up. And you know, I mean, obviously there's a chest burster. I don't know if you're printing off more phallic body parts, but you should throw them on the channel because I figure we could probably still get the live show in. Obviously,
Dude, when I'm done with the chest burster, do you want me to send it to you?
I would hang that on my wall in a heartbeat at like waist level.
Like, I'm gonna like really paint this to like above tabletop standard.
It's
And
cool, man.
And I'm gonna dip it in resin, and then I'm gonna paint on it again, and dip it in resin again. Then I'm gonna put fake blood effects on it, and it's gonna look dope as fuck.
I would absolutely, dude. That sounds amazing.
But once Halloween's over, I'm not gonna know what I'm gonna do with this phallic-looking thing. I might be too tempted if it's around me.
Oh man.
It's cool, man, and I'm all about all that kind of alien stuff. I mean, you know, like
design like a Jack-in-the-Box type scenario.
That'd be cool.
Well, I thought about drilling it out, like from the mouth to like the base, and like putting a squirt gun, like little hose there to squirt people.
Nice.
But I was like, nah, I wanted to be lazy about this Halloween costume. I printed it, I painted it. I don't want to add extra shit to it.
Come on.
Nice.
Well, y'all, we have reached the time period of this show coming to a close. Anything we want to say to our friends and fam out there? I know that I want to give a big thank you to our friends that jumped in. It was nice to say hello to Crocodile. And
yo,
so
you
much
guys
for the
are
comments.
awesome.
Chicken Bone, Cat, thank you for jumping in. Gordito Spree got some dice from us. What a good man. He said he got the dice rolling sixes.
Very cool. We appreciate that.
Totally. Had Connor jump in and say what's up. Connor, good job this week taking care of Chris.
Connor, I'm going to eat you.
Asshole first. That's how they do in the wild.
Damn right. Wait, what? Yeah, sure, we'll go with it.
Tabletop Alchemy is about to produce the meanest and baddest penises.
Phallic object.
Yeah, weird phallic alien objects that obviously could be used for all sorts of things. And dice in 2019 and tournaments and Shadespire and Kill Team and Commander and battle reports. That was a nice cat and nice cat sample, dog.
He's running away.
Everybody,
but yeah,
we appreciate you. Keep taking fun seriously out there. We'll see him next time, yeah?
Adios.
Bye, buddy.
Have a good night. Thank you, Interwebs. Thank you, Chicken Bone. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gordito. Thank you, Cat.